The Jackbox Party Pack phenomenon began in 2014. Since then, it has become a yearly franchise, and this 2020 edition features 4 new games and a returning champion, Quiplash. To begin this review, I'll go through each game, give some brief thoughts, and move on to the conclusion. Some of these are a bit hard to explain, but hopefully the visuals will help. So, let's begin with Talking Points, which is similar to a game introduced in the Jackbox Party Pack 5 called Patently Stupid. That game was all about creating an invention and a need to present to players. Because there was more interaction with the drawing, it was better than this. This game is primarily a PowerPoint presentation, i.e. it feels like homework and can be stress-inducing. One player speaks while a co-pilot chooses slides. Everything comes across as a little generic, even if you try to spice it up with drawing over pictures. There isn't much of a game to it. Maybe this would be useful in a school environment or an office for a more whimsical way to practice speech. It is more family friendly to be sure, but I didn't really care for this one. Moving on, the best way to describe the devils in the details is to liken it to Keep Talking Nobody Explodes. Actually, now that I think about it, Jackbox Games did have something similar introduced in the Party Pack 2 called Bomb Core. Essentially, players must work together in order to achieve a goal, just like in those 2 examples, except not involving bombs. The game is veiled like a cheesy 80s sitcom of devils, wherein each episode has them trying to accomplish a single goal, like launching into space. This is the most interactive game Jackbox has created on the phone, with tons of minigames from driving to tapping various directions in order to fix something, to all sorts of other crazy things, which I unfortunately cannot show you because it doesn't appear on the screen when you're playing it with friends. But take it from me, it is pretty interactive. Now, because many of these tasks require 2 players, it can get chaotic the more people are involved. Voices will be crossed, in other words. It is fun, but harder to recommend because of this. You really need to have a good setup. Next, Champed Up is essentially a joke machine without any sort of guesswork involved from drawing. Players will be given a prompt to create a hero, but whether you follow up on this idea or not is really up to you. The matches are then randomized, and all you can do is hope that their silly and/or beautiful drawings will find favor with your friends. There isn't much strategy to it, other than knowing what the likes and dislikes are of your friends. Those good at jokes and drawing will love it, but those not that creative may find it a bit troubling. Next, the aforementioned returning champion, Whiplash. This is the 3rd time since it was introduced in 2015. Honestly, this game and Champed Up could be interchangeable as they are essentially joke machines. What gives this a slight edge is that there isn't much to think about, i.e. you just need words and not a steady hand to draw with. For those unfamiliar with Quiplash, it's simple. The game will give players 2 prompts, write a funny answer, which will then be pitted against a random player just like in Champed Up. Get the most points through votes and you win. See? Simple. Like many of these games, it all depends on the group. You don't have to go blue to have a good time, but it certainly does help. Lastly, we have Blather Round. Now, there are issues with this, but it is the standout title in the Jackbox Party Pack 7. Players must choose a place, person, thing, or whatever, and describe it to players via adjectives. For example, if the answer is the film Ratatouille, the game may allow players to choose to describe it as a thing about a tiny creature. Based on friendly guesses, the player can then use those answers to say if something is close or not to the real thing. This may sound the most confusing out of all these games, which it honestly is until you get the hang of it. Blather Round is the most gamey mode in the collection and actually takes some strategy along with luck. In this way, it may not be as fun to play without the humor of something like Quiplash, but in terms of something interesting, it beats all. And that's about it. I've been a fan since the very beginning of the Jackbox games, but this is my first review and I found it hard to put into a numbered score. Overall, it's another quality box with some genuine gems and a couple others that were okay. That said, in these current times, it's hard not to fully recommend this one. As the name suggests, this is indeed a party and I'm glad I was invited to join once again. Did you like that video? If you did, please like, subscribe, and spread the good word of ReActionExaminer. If you want to read more of my stuff, you can find a plethora of my articles over at TheGamer and Game Rant. All of those links and more are in the show notes below. Thanks for watching!